back. I'm back home. I got back home Monday night at like 11 p.m. It is now Wednesday at 1 p.m. I'm still in pajamas because just being a lazy day. I have like 10 loads of laundry I need to do. Filled up the dishwasher. It's not quite full yet. I put in some castor oil in my hair and let that sit for like an hour or 2 hours. Okay, I just got a phone call from the school and I gotta go pick up my daughter because she has a bad headache. But she's got 2 hours and 40 minutes left at school, so I guess she made it through most of the day, so that's good. Anyways, so it is day 4 of the Gilmore Girls Readathon, and I have sucked at vlogging because I was at my mom's and then doing a little bit of traveling back from my mom's place, and I've been tired and lazy. So I finished Darkwing, which one of the prompts is for a book with red or brown on the cover, not Darkwing Duck. So this actually has brown on the cover. I had a different book for that prompt, but it has brown on the cover. It was published in 2007, so it said to pick a book published between 2000 and 2007, which was when the show was running. The other prompt is to read like the next one in a series, and I read the 3 Silverwing, Sunwing, and Firewing books, and then this one is not really a part of those books. Those 3 books take place and they are about Shade and his family, and they were really, really good, but this one takes place like way in the past, and it is about what bats were before they were bats, and then one of the first, he's not the first, but one of the first to kind of like change, and what they were before, they could glide, but they couldn't fly. They could only like climb up a tree and then glide down, and then they have to climb back up and glide, but he had this urge to flap. His name is Dusk, and Dusk had this like urge to flap, which was really different and frowned upon, and his back and shoulder muscles and his chest muscles were a lot bigger and stronger than the other chiropters, I think they're called, but his back legs were a lot weaker than theirs, so he had a hard time climbing. And the chiropters have fur like all over their body, including their sails, they call them. He has wings that are just like that leathery skin that you see on a bat now. So it was really cool because it also, he's living in a time where there's other beasts that we don't have today, but you can see like this is the precursor to the horse or the squirrel, or one is kind of like a ostrich, but it's like very violent and mean, but it's like a big like 7-foot or 10-foot tall bird that runs and can't fly. Yeah, it was really cool to go back and reread these childhood favorites. So that is what's going on with my eyebrow. So that is what's going on so far with the Gilmore Girls Readathon. I haven't really picked up another book that I have designated to that Readathon. You're gonna play some music for us? But anyways, I gotta run and pick up my daughter. I'll run and pick up my daughter, and then in 2 hours go and run and pick up my other daughter. So fun. Yeah, so I'll check in later. You're gonna come?
Yeah.
Guitar. Yeah. Okay. Coffee makes everything possible. I thought this was an appropriate shirt to, pajamas to start the day. So my house, my kitchen, as usual, is 100% disaster. So what I'm going to do is clean this up really quick. I'm going to be listening to The Bear and the Nightingale, and then we're going to make homemade Pop-Tarts. And it seemed like an appropriate Gilmore Girls snack to make. I might also make some chocolate chip cookies or something. I bought chocolate chips, so we'll see about that. But first, book, clean, bake, all that good stuff. kitchen's gonna get right now. So, we're gonna make Pop-Tarts. I'll link the recipe down below. I have been so lazy since I got back from my mom's place on Monday. Today is Saturday. Anyways, so I've been back from my mom's place for like 5 days now, and I've been so lazy. It is 4 p.m. and I'm still in my coffee makes everything possible shirt, which has icing on it from our homemade Pop-Tarts. Got some cinnamon bread here that my daughter's trying to sneak. Careful. I got some coffee. I made just like black regular coffee with eggnog in it. So that's my eggnog latte. Hopefully it's good. I just warmed it up. It's very hot. Anyways, I have been so lazy. And I'm like, I can't film before like I do my hair. I gotta do my hair, my makeup, and do all this stuff. And I just hasn't been happening. I've done like 10 loads of laundry since I've been home. The cat peed on my son's bed. He does that every once in a while. I'm not sure why. And he seems to be peeing blood too. So I'm waiting to take him to the vet next week. But so that's like multiple washings of that stuff. Of the quilt and everything like that. So that's frustrating. On top of washing like all the other blankets. Some of them just smelled because kids smell and need to do laundry more often apparently. Of bedding stuff. And the kids have moved. The girls were sleeping upstairs and now they're downstairs. Just doing tons and tons of laundry and everything like that. Just trying to find the time to do some vlogging, and I have like 500 videos I need to post. I have not been consistent with my posting at all. Anyways, I am doing the Gilmore Girls Readathon. I got my coffee, of course. I ate the homemade Pop-Tarts. They were very delicious. My one daughter won't stop eating them. I'm like, stop it. It's very, very good. I still have some filling left, but it's basically like a jam. So put that on toast, I guess. I got my cinnamon raisin toast that my husband made me. And the book I am so excited for, that I was looking up to find books that fit the prompts for the Gilmore Girls Readathon, and one of them was a mother-daughter relationship. And one of the books that came up was called I Love You So Mochi. And when me and my husband traveled to Japan in 2017, we discovered mochi, and it's a really weird dessert, but depending on what your filling is and stuff like that, it can be very delicious. So I was like, okay, I need to find this book. And I think I found it at my library. And then every once in a while, I will go on Facebook Marketplace and look to just see what's available. And somebody was like, YA sci-fi fantasy books, $5 or $20 or something like that. She had like this big stack of books. And it was funny because this one was on there. And I was like, okay, I've never heard of this book before. Just looked it up. It came out in 2019. I just discovered it. And she's got it on this big stack of books. So I was like, hey, can I buy just that one book? And she's like, it's not science fiction, fantasy. I was like, yeah, I understand that. I just happen to be looking for this one book. So I bought it for $5. And I am obsessed with cherry blossoms. I grew up in Vancouver, which has cherry blossoms, and we did not see them when we went to Japan. It was not the cherry blossom season. Sadly, we missed them in Japan, but I just love cherry blossoms. My big tree upstairs, my big bookshelf tree is a cherry blossom tree, and I love it. So this cover, I am obsessed with the I Love You So Mochi cover. It's beautiful. The back of it is just adorable. I love it. The inside even has like the little drawings. I'm obsessed with this cover. This dust jacket. And then even the naked part, it's got like the nice pink, I Love You So Mochi. It's got like little flowers embossed in it. And the inside is that nice baby pink. Like the prologue even, like they have like the nice little flowers and the cute writing. It is definitely YA, even from like the 10 pages I've read. So this fits. I feel like this is a really good pick for Gilmore Girls Readathon because it is Asian representation, which is for Lane, of course. It's not Korean, but it's Japanese. I was thinking that this, besides the Asian representation, that this is a good book for the Gilmore Girls Readathon. Is Kimi Nakamura loves a good fashion statement. So I am 10 pages into the book and she talks about making her own clothes and making clothes for her friends. And I'm like, okay, Lorelai Gilmore makes dresses and stuff like that. Like she's actually like a seamstress and can make clothes. So that was cool. She's obsessed with transforming everyday ephemera into Kimi originals. Bold outfits that make her and her friends feel like the ultimate versions of themselves. But her mother disapproves, and after they get into an explosive fight, Kimmy's entire future seems on the verge of falling apart. So when a surprise letter comes in the mail from Kimmy's estranged grandparents inviting her to Kyoto for spring break, she seizes the opportunity to get away from her disaster of a life. So I was thinking about that episode. I think it's when Rory decides that she wants to take a break from college, from Yale. She's not sure what she wants to do with her life anymore, and she wants to take a break, and her and Lorelai get in this huge fight, and Rory decides to go with her grandma and go to Paris and to Europe and stuff like that. So I felt like that this isn't exactly the same thing, but she gets in a fight with her mom. She's going to visit grandparents in another country. So I thought that was really Gilmore Girls, and so it has the element of travel in it. I'm not sure about hotels because she probably is staying with her grandparents in Kyoto, I imagine. But it's got the travel element. It's got a mother-daughter relationship that might not be the best relationship, but it's there. So that's it. I'm going to get back into reading this because I have 2 days to read it. It's not super long or anything like that, but I've just been so overwhelmed with everything I've been doing, and my brain is like not functioning properly, so I need the time to read it. But anyways, I'll check in later. So I obviously completely failed the Gilmore Girls Readathon because I did not finish this. It is Monday afternoon. It's like 11 something. And I am on page 246 of I Love You So Mochi out of 308. Fail. So I am here for the wrap up of the Gilmore Girls Readathon. So I talked to you about how I was reading Darkwing and really enjoyed that one. That was good. It was fun. It was nice to go back to like an old childhood favorite. And so I was reading The Bear and the Nightingale. So The Bear and the Nightingale was a fairly long book. So I ended up downloading, I think it was about a 12-hour audiobook, and listened to the last so many hours. I can't remember. I listened to probably at least 8 hours of it, if not more. Anyways, I liked the audiobook. It was pretty good, and it had it's a Russian story, so there was a little bit of an accent in the narrator. Had a little bit of an accent, but it wasn't like so strong that you couldn't understand what anyone was saying. But it was really good, and I'm not sure what to think about that book. That book covered prompts for snow and no mention of cell phones, and I can't think of it fit any other prompts. It was weird. I wasn't sure what to expect with it when I read the description of what it was for the Three Blondes and a Book club, and I decided to pick it up, and I thought it was going to be more like middle grade ish, maybe like young adult. like, I guess it's adult, but it's told from a few different perspectives. Like, you do see the one girl's perspective, and you see the dad's perspective for a little bit at one point. Yeah, just a lot was going on. I think it was just a lot of Russian folklore, so it was kind of confusing that way, just to keep up with it. And I don't know, I guess I thought it was going to be a little bit more magical, but it was a little bit more real. Like, they believed these things were happening. The adults believed in it as well. It wasn't just like this little girl made up stuff. It's more like I said, Russian folklore, so it's more prevalent in all the age groups, and the adults tell it to the children to teach them, you know, lessons or whatever. I don't know what's going on. I just had a nice bath, started my new book. I don't know what's going on with my hair. I never know what's going on with my hair. Anyways, so that book I think is like a 3 out of 5 for me. I am definitely interested to see the live show for it, to see what other people thought of that book, and maybe it will help me understand it a little bit more and enjoy the story a little bit more. Sometimes watching those live shows, you're like, I love this book, and then everyone talked about what was bad about it, and you're like, oh, well, that sucks. I didn't think about any of that stuff. Or you go in thinking like, oh, this book was okay, and then they talk about all this like great stuff or all these meanings that they got behind it, and you're like, oh, maybe this book wasn't as bad as I initially thought. Anyways, the last book I read for Gilmore Girls was I Love You So Mochi, and I mentioned like how much I'm just like in love with the dust jacket. It's so pretty, and like all the little like cutesy drawings and stuff. Now the book itself is very much young adult, and the main character is 17, and so it is written very, I'd say it even reads maybe a little bit, feels a little bit younger than that, in the sense because this is like her first boyfriend kiss romantic situation kind of thing, so just the way she like reacts to it feels a little bit young, but not unrealistic either. And it wasn't so young that I was like annoyed with the characters or anything like that, but it does read very young. Like, this is young adult romance. And so just keep that in mind when you're going in. If you like more adult stuff and don't like teenagers, then this is not the book for you. But the book was like kind of predictable and stuff, but it was really sweet, and I would definitely say this would be like a good comfort read. And some of the things, like, this is for the Gilmore Girls Readathon, it's Asian representation, author, and the place. She goes to Kyoto in Japan, and she is Japanese American, and her grandparents that she goes to visit in Japan are Japanese, and her mom is Japanese and her dad is Japanese American. So there's travel element in it, the Asian element in it. There is a love story. It's not really, I guess you could call it complicated if you want to say that somebody living in Kyoto is dating somebody living in America. That's kind of complicated, long distance, but I don't know if I would count it as complicated or not. But oh, there's flowers on the cover as well. Like I said, the cherry blossoms. She does not stay in a hotel. She stays with her grandparents. But anyway, she gets in a fight with her mom. Her mom is a painter, and she has been a painter as well. And call the main character Kimmy. Yeah, there's a few like Japanese versions of her name, like Kimi-chan and Kimiko and stuff like that, but she mostly goes by Kimmy, so Kimi. So Kimmy is a painter like her mom, but she dropped out of her fine arts class and she was accepted into like a painting college, basically like a fine arts college program at this like crazy Liu Academy or something like that. Anyways, this really prestigious artist school, but she ends up dropping out of her advanced fine arts class in her senior year of high school, and is too afraid to tell her mom. So she feels like she's kind of lost, and she's always liked to make her own clothes, and this is definitely a self-discovery book. But she likes to make her own clothes, and her mom has always told her that's frivolous, that's a waste of time, that's not important, focus on your painting. So she gets in a fight with her mom after her mom finds out that she's no longer in the advanced arts program. Her mom is just like, I don't even know if I know who you are anymore, and it's like this big blowout. And so she decides to go, she's been invited by her grandparents to go to Kyoto for 2 weeks over spring break. So I felt like that, like I said before, was very Gilmore Girls after Lorelai and Rory get in a fight, and Rory wants to drop out of school for the year, and just like, she's like, I don't know if I want to be a writer or a journalist anymore. I don't know what's going on with my life. So a little bit older, because Rory was in college, and Kimmy is in grade 12, deciding where she wants to go to college. But it's still that kind of like fight with your mom, don't know what you want to do with your life, I'm running away. And she runs to go visit her Japanese grandparents that she's never met before, because they had a falling out with their daughter when her daughter, Kimmy's mom, chose to stay in America and marry a Japanese American and have a baby before she was even done college. So Kimmy goes on this self-discovery journey while she's in Kyoto, and she loves to make clothes. Like, that is clearly, obviously her passion, but her whole life she's been told that's frivolous, that's meaningless, that's just a waste of time. Focus on your painting. So she doesn't realize, like, that is something that is valuable and important and something she should chase after. And I don't know, spoilers or not, like, it's kind of hard to spoil this book because it's pretty obvious what's going to happen in the book. It's, like I said, it's very predictable, but not in a bad way. It's just, like I said, a comforting, cute, fun read. She meets this boy who's working for his uncle's mochi stand, and he decides he's going to help her discover her passion, her journey, what she's meant to do. And it was really fun, really cute, really sweet. And one of the best parts about this book is, you know, like when you're reading a book, you like picture scenes in your mind. And if you've seen the movie, or if you've read it, watch the movie, and then later on reread the book, you're picturing the scenes in your head like those actors you put like into the book kind of thing. Or you're picturing, if there's a scene that's like scene for scene in the book and the movie, you can kind of picture the movie scene in the book, right? But for this, it was so fun because I spent 1 week in Tokyo and 3 days in Kyoto and one night in Osaka, where she spends 2 weeks in Kyoto. But some of the things that she does in here, me and my husband did when we were in Tokyo. If you watch my other video talking about my buying books that I just did at my mom's place a couple weeks ago, I included some clips of my Japanese trip. Like, she's eating mochi. She is Japanese, like I said, and her dad runs a Japanese American restaurant. And so he's always making mochi and stuff like that. So like all the food she's eating, she's not discovering for the first time. These are like her favorite foods. When we went to Japan, we were pretty much discovering like mochi and melon pan and stuff for the very first time. Like, we do have food here like ramen and sushi and stuff like that, of course. But some of the more like unique stuff, I guess, we were discovering for the first time in Japan, or things we didn't even consider like looking up here to eat, right? Because we're not Japanese or didn't grow up with that kind of food. Chinese food seems to be like a pretty popular staple for most families, but not maybe so much Japanese food. I didn't really annotate this book, but I did put a little heart here because I go to Nara Park, and Nara Park is the park where the deer just wander around, and they're free to wander around, and you buy these little crackers and you feed them, and it's really awesome. So when they were like feeding the deer and experiencing the deer, and the one deer gets like really aggressive and is trying to like steal the french fries that he has in his backpack they went to McDonald's, and the deer is like in his backpack and runs off with these fries and stuff like that. Like, I could picture that in my head. We didn't have that exact experience at Nara Park, but I did have a bag that I bought. I bought a backpack, actually, and they put it in a bag, and the deer just ripped my bag apart looking for food. Like, it was like a paper bag, and they just ripped it apart. So I was like, well, thankfully what I bought was a backpack, so I was able to put everything in there. Okay.
Are you ready? Are you ready for deer? Oh, this is not working.
Hi. I don't have food though. Oh, and there's a scene in here where they're making mochi, and maybe I'll add that clip here that my husband took in Nara Park. They're making mochi, and his uncle's stand is not in Nara Park. It's in another park that I don't even know how to pronounce. They're talking about like dipping their hands in the water and flipping over the rice dough, and then you hit it with like this mallet, and they're doing like these war cries and going back and forth. And I'm like, we saw this in person and got to eat that mochi afterwards, and it was so awesome and so cool to see that.
Here we go. These guys are getting ready to make mochi by hand. Usually it's done by machine. These guys are the few that do it by hand. And I love mochi. This trip might as well be called Japan Mochi Edition. Oh, here's the legit thing though. Here we go. Of course.
So this book was just really kind of nostalgic for me as well. Yeah, I'm just so glad I read it and that I was able to pick this up for the Gilmore Girls Readathon, and I had a lot of fun, and I hope to do this again next year and hopefully have a little bit more energy and be able to do a little bit more things, more different baking and stuff. The Pop-Tarts were a hit. Everybody liked them, and now my husband wants to make more. If you're looking for a cute, fluffy YA romance, self-discovery book, definitely check out I Love You So Mochi by Sarah Kuhn. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Leave a comment down below. Leave me a flower, cherry blossom comment, or emoji, or a coffee cup emoji for Gilmore Girls if you've watched all of this video. I know it's kind of long. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!